Okay, so for indirect causative fat, first of all, notice that we don't have such a control version, which is quite different with the direct fat. And this is because, you see, when we are talking about direct fat, the treatment we're care about is the vaccine, right? We want to learn about whether taking a vaccine would be better than the situation where we don't take a vaccine. And in terms of indirect fat, now the treatment we're interested in is the enzyme. That is, we want to figure out whether a large amount of enzyme would be better than the stator, where we only keep a normal level of the enzyme. So if we control, so how do we do this? How do we get a large amount of enzyme? We know the mechanism is by the vaccination, right? The vaccine will boost the amount of the enzyme. So if we control the vaccine, that is, it seems that we would diminish the amount of the enzyme. So we couldn't got amount of the enzyme we wanted, not to mention to calculate the indirect fat. So in the categories of indirect fat, we only talk about its natural version. So now I'm not sure if you might got a sense of the word nature. Whenever time we use the word nature to describe the causative fat, we tend to link it as the counterfactual imagination. You know, now that the mechanism is that the vaccine is the only cause to proliferate the enzyme, right? And we are not allowed to uh, to control the enzyme. That means in the current world and the parallel world, my grandfather, we will not allow my grandfather to take a vaccine because this time I just want to test the indirect effect of the enzyme itself. And 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 I think this is partially where the moral of causation will work because this is time to need some imagination, some counterfactual imagination. Let's imagine if there is this, sort of laser that can kind of simulate the enzyme level in my grandpa's body to help him reach a level as if he had already taken the vaccination. So, given that sense, uh, given this condition, we will continue to calculate the disparity. So this is the rough picture about how the natural in indirect effect will work. Okay, so so far I have talked a lot about the causal effects and its detailed version, and you might wonder why did I spend such a space and length to talk about this idea. And you now want to pick a sentence from the book of Why, um, and I want to explain this a bit. You know, the first time when I read the book of Why, this contents in the last chapter, to be honest, I didn't quite understood the relations, the definitions between these various kinds of causal effects. So I was pondering, what is the magic? What is the magic of the natural causal effect? What makes Professor Poor make such a comment here? So by talking about this, um, Though at the first glance, it seems that the counterfactual thinking we discuss in this presentation seems to be some metaphysic concepts that it seems is pretty impossible to be used in practice. But just be told, it can be we can transfer this theoretical causal concept into practical mathematical formula by some particular assumption. So this possibility, I think, is partially the reason why Professor Poor will treat it as one of his exhilarating experience during his lifetime. Okay, so let's come back to our question. We say um, the direct effect might be insignificant, so that we headed to talking about the indirect effect. But what if now I suppose both indirect effects and direct effect would be insignificant? Um, that is, we normally have the NDE equals to 0, the natural indirect effect or NIE will also equals to 0. And this will lead to a big contradiction because in common sense, the total causative effect or TCE here would be the direct effect plus the indirect effect, right? But what if given both the category equaling to 0, then how can we calculate the total causative effect? Because it seems that the total effect would equal to 0. Um, so this question will bring us to the next topic of this presentation, which is the common setting, the common restriction in practice, that is the nonlinearity. And in the next video, I will try to briefly expand this and to see how we can face this issue.